Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another broadcast of the weekly with me, Neff. And today we're going to be reviewing Sinners. So just watched this movie tonight. Overall, pretty solid flick. I'm going to go through a couple things. We'll go through the cast, pretty much like the plot of the movie, things like that. And then we'll really talk about some of the better things that happened in the film and maybe some things they could have worked on. But overall, pleasant experience. So let's jump into it. Let's talk about this cast first. So you have Michael B. Jordan, right, as Smoke and Stack. He's playing twice, two different brothers, twin brothers. Delroy Lindo as Delta Slim. Miles Caton as Sammy, a.k.a. Little Sammy. Jack O'Connell as Remick, and really he's like the ringleader of all the antagonists. And yes, there is multiple antagonists in this film. Hailee Steinfeld playing Mary. Lee Jun Lee as Grace. Omar Benson Miller as Cornbread. He was an interesting character in this film. And Wunmi Masaku, who is actually Smoke's wife in this film. Wife, estranged wife, whatever you want to call her. But overall, everybody did a good job in this film. I thought it was well acted overall. I do have to say my favorite performances came from Michael B. Jordan. Obviously, he is the main character for both characters, but there was really more emphasis on Smoke and his character arc, to be quite honest. And then Delroy Lindo, he did a great job as well. He was like very serious at times, but also the comedic relief. He really gave the character a lot of spunk, and he really brought that performance to life. Jack O'Connell was okay, but I really do think Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo were the standouts to me overall. A few things that I did like about the film. I just think overall, as a pure package, this film is extremely unique for a vampire film because it's a film that's being done in a modern time. There is some contemporary moments at the end of the film. Not going to give away too much spoilers with that, but also a time period piece film which takes place in the 30s with these brothers that have come back down from Chicago, and they're coming back to their hometown of Clarksdale, Mississippi. I also like the lore that goes into this film as well. I do like how the film is shot. The cinematography is well placed and well done. They also have the yellow filter in post also to give it that feel of it being an older time. There's times when you're watching the film where it's like you can feel the humidity of the deep south through the screen, so it was kind of immersive in that way. There were a couple jump scares in the film, but not too many when the antagonists actually show up. And there is going to be a spoiler here, so I'm just going to say it. This film is essentially about vampires, but these vampires are a little different. There was something unique about this film regarding the vampires. Rather than the vampires kind of just being like bloodthirsty, almost like super animalistic, it's not really that approach. These vampires almost welcome a sense of community. That's really what they want. So I thought that was different as well. Also, it seems like they can tame their hunger. So I thought that was interesting. As far as the writing goes of this film, the writing was pretty solid. With this film, something that I thought was pretty awesome and shows the depth of writing is they really touch different characters that are going to be a big part of this film in one way or another. And instead of them giving them a full backstory for character development, they found a way to give them many arcs. So you basically develop the character a lot faster than you would rather if you just focused on them for about 30 to 40 minutes. Therefore, what happens is you have your main characters with Michael B. Jordan, obviously. Hailee Steinfeld's pretty much a main character in this film. Miles Caton, a main character in this film, as well as, I'd say, Delta Slim, Delroy Lindo's character. Those are like the big ones. Also, as I said, Smoke's estranged wife, you can argue, is a main character in this as well. What they did was they gave them these mini development series, so it allows the audience to almost build a pseudo relationship with each of these characters in a small amount of time, which I thought was actually really well done. I never really felt like I didn't know anything about these characters that are big parts of the film. Obviously, there's other support, extras, stuff like that, which is cool, but those characters that have mainline roles in this film, you do get background on them and their motivations, their wants, needs, and perspectives. This film is about 2 hours, 17 minutes, 2 hours, 20 minutes, fills it up really nicely. If there's one thing that I would have changed, and I understand why they did it, but if there's one thing I would have changed, it would have been the pacing in the beginning. I could see how someone would watch this film and say it's extremely slow. I wouldn't call this a slow film overall, but I'd definitely say it's a slow burn. When it does get going, you are going to see some cool things. The suspense element is there to an extent. Another thing I'd point out is a little critique as far as Jack O'Connell's character, Remick. I thought the introduction to him, the first couple scenes you see him in when he's running up to the house, it's a connection there, right? And you'll see the connection towards the end of the film, because that's one thing as well that's really good. They find a way to give you almost Easter eggs within the film that they go back to towards the end, so you can build the connection from events that happen in the beginning and the end, even some in the middle. But I thought overall, when they actually do introduce him and you actually see that he is a vampire and pretty much the leader of this group here, I thought the opening for that was a little underwhelming. I thought they could have revealed him a little differently. I thought maybe they could have used that moment to implement a jump scare or just make it a little more suspenseful for the reveal, because he is the main ringleader of all the vampires. So you definitely want to introduce him with a bang there. I think overall, my favorite parts of this film was just the way it was shot. The way it was shot and the approach to writing the characters, overall, pretty good work. Like I said, if I would change anything, it'd be the pacing of the film in the beginning. And also, I probably would have looked at that VFX a little more. There were a couple of VFX scenes that were like, they could have worked on that a little better, made it a little more interesting there, and made it just look better overall aesthetically. I would have liked to see more practical use with the effects in this film. I thought that would have been cool. And, a way to bring that into a modern vampire film. Not to say there wasn't some practical effects, but there were some effects with the vampires that could have used a little touching up. The history of the guitar was something that I really liked, and how they followed Sammy Miles Caton character to his older age up into the 90s, where you see another big reveal where Stack actually survives and Mary is there with him. They basically just survived through all these decades, and they basically offer him to live eternally with them. And then really Stack, Mary, and Sammy reminisce about the times before they went to the club that Smoke and Stack invested in and threw this party in, which attracted all the events afterwards. So that was something that I thought was an emotional connection and heartfelt, and that's why I'm giving this film an 8 out of 10. I definitely recommend that people watch this film in theaters. I want to know everybody else's comments on this film and what they took away from it. It's definitely a film that I could see myself watching again in theater, just to see if I missed something, also for that big screen experience. But then again, I could watch it at home on a big TV, good sound system, and not almost get the same feel, but I could still understand what's going on and still appreciate it for what it is, because I did take the time to go watch it in theater. I definitely say, if you're looking at this trailer, you don't know anything about this film, if you're looking at reviews and Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb and different scores like that, and you're just trying to figure out, should I go watch this in theater or wait for it to go on streaming, I would say you should go watch this film in theater. It's definitely the best film I've seen so far this year. We are 4 months into the year. I've seen 2 movies, Black Bag, which I gave a 6.5, and this one I'm giving an 8 out of 10. So more movies are going to be coming out. The Accountant 2 comes out next week. I'll be grading that one and putting out a review. But overall, Sinners is a quality flick from Ryan Coogler, Michael B. Jordan, Hailee Steinfeld, everyone involved with this film. Good performances. I really do like this take for a modern vampire film. Very unique. And also, cannot forget about the implementation of blues music in this film. Definitely a staple of the South. And Jamie Lawson was in the film playing Caroline, and she had her 15 minutes. So that was cool to see as well. The way they were able to balance all the cast members and not make it feel like it was too heavy was also credit to the writing of this film and how they wanted to approach all the characters, as I said earlier in the review. I'd say the climax of the film was definitely sufficient, and the big kill of the KKK members that were going to be setting up the brothers is awesome as well. And then you get to see some more emotional strings being pulled there with Smoke and Annie basically being reconnected. So I thought that was a cool moment. And like I said, following that, when you see Stack, older Sammy at this point in time, he's probably in his 70s, 80s, and then you see Mary come back together and they reminisce at the end in the bar. I thought that was a really good way to wrap up this film, and it somewhat leaves it open for a sequel and probably even a third film, because really you have 60 years of time in between. So I think it would follow Stack and Mary's characters, to be quite honest, to see what they've been up to for all this time. But overall, like I said, Sinners, good film. Go watch it. Really enjoyed it. Recommend it. 8 out of 10, ladies and gents. Let me know what you think down below about this film. Let me know what you think about the review. Share this review with a couple of friends and colleagues. Also, subscribe to the channel and ring the bell for notifications for more film reviews that I will be having. With that being said, ladies and gents, it's Neff signing off.